Okay, let's talk about your emotional authority. So I have emotional authority as well, so can speak from experience on this. It is labyrinthine. it is very murky. And it's a situation in which we're not meant to be 100% really about anything. We
Mhm,
can feel a lot of things about pretty much anything, right?
mhm,
And one of the simplest ways to kind of, help you stay out of trouble with your emotional authority is to be aware that emotional intensity is not
mhm,
compatible with emotional clarity. It's as
mhm,
simple as that. If you're feeling a lot, don't make decisions. Do not make
mhm,
decisions, whether that's high or low. Um, it can feel like we're going to miss out on opportunities when we're in this waiting process. And there's this
mhm.
urgency kind of jump at the top of the wave.
Right.
And
Mhm,
that's just a trap to be aware of.
mhm,
Ross says there's no truth in the now for the emotional person. And of course, eventually you do have truth in some now, just not the initial now.
mhm,
So one of the tempting traps, and it's going to be something interesting to kind of unpack in your design as we go a little bit deeper here, is it's very alluring to be spontaneous, and you have a spontaneous splenic system which is intuitive, and
mhm,
that's going to be for different things than the big life decisions. A matter of allocating
mhm,
your energy. Um, in terms of some people say with emotional authority that it's a matter of waiting for your comfort. I kind of like that way of thinking about it. What I would want to steer you away from, and I don't know if you're active on Facebook HD groups or anything like that, but there's some misinformation out there. Clarity, Rod did a great job of talking about the fact that we need to not make decisions from the highs and lows. Those are going to be
mhm,
regrettable decisions that lead to frustration and pain and bad stuff. However, he doesn't really say what clarity feels like and looks like. Like, what's the green light? I know what not to do, but
mhm,
what do I do? And so what I have kind of come to find about this is that some people talk about emotional clarity as a place of stillness and neutrality. And they say, well, I get to this place where I could kind of take it or leave it. That's not what it is. Because if you get to a place where you could take it or leave it, your mind is going to vote,
mhm,
you know? So it is what's going on in the solar plexus is that it is both a motor and an awareness center coming into its full capacity and fruition. So when it's in full motor mode, that's when you're pumped up or you're feeling low. The awareness is
mhm,
between that. But in my experience, when I'm actually getting a response to something, and I'm like you, I'm
mhm,
a MG, there's still energy there to do that thing. If it goes to a complete place of neutrality, that's a no. A yes feels like something. It feels like something. And yeah, I think as we get into some of the channels that define your authority, we'll talk a little bit more about that
mhm.
specifically. Tell me how your experiment's been going in regard to sorting out your emotional clarity. What's that been like for you?
Um, well, I mean, it's pretty recent because I was mainly focusing on responding
Okay.
before. So I would say until I got the emotional authority thing down, not down, but started experimenting with it about 2, 3 months ago, I was making a lot of spontaneous decisions, which were kind of getting in the way. And I didn't understand why, because the responding part was going great.
Yeah.
So now that I know that I have to wait, like really wait and not be spontaneous, it's always me. Cause, I'm also in the crypto community, and that's like the worst place to be if you're emotional, I think, because
What?
there's a lot of hype. Crypto community,
Okay.
cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And so I actually, got myself sick because I was constantly going up on the hype of
Mhm.
crypto
Yeah.
and the crashes and the lows. And I made a lot of bad decisions trading because of that. So I learned my lesson financially.
Yeah, I feel that that community, the stock market in general, it operates according to the emotional wave because half of the
Yes.
planet is emotional.
Yes.
So really on planet Earth, we all have a relationship to either, we need to have a conscious relationship to either our own emotional chemistry or others' emotional chemistry and find equanimity in that. And for you and me,
Mm.
it's our own, and, I'll say that the experiment is really about, no matter who you are, it's about shifting your awareness from between your ears, from primarily being rooted, anchored between your ears, to bringing it down to somewhere in your body. And for us, it's our emotions. And this is
Mm.
where I specifically feel my solar plexus. It's here, it's my
Mm. Mhm.
chest. It's the physical solar plexus, just to kind of give you, some direction with where you might locate that within yourself. The sacral belly response is lower, it's more of,
Mm.
I guess, what you would traditionally call a second chakra type of location, in the belly.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's this enveloping feeling in my chest, in my torso, in my heart, and the energy is just churning. And over time, what needs to happen is you need to kind of map out that landscape. So you're like, oh, wait, this feeling is go. This feeling is nervousness. This feeling is, and it's going to be trial and error. It is for all of us, but especially for you as a third line profile.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of timelines, obviously life comes at us fast sometimes, sometimes we're, whatever you do, whatever your commitments are with family or work and all that kind of stuff, things come at us fast. Give yourself just as much time as you can give yourself. Sometimes you can't give yourself the perfect amount of time. You have to make a move. There's kind of external pressure on you to do that. Just give yourself as much time as you can. And I would also say that in terms of waiting, there's a few exceptions here. One would be like, let's say that you've been shopping for a couch for, I don't know, 6 months. And suddenly, you've looked at 100 couches and suddenly you find your couch. I would still say sleep on it, but you can make that decision much quicker when you find it because of the preceding process.
Mhm.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Mhm.
The other thing is that because you do have the splenic system, which we'll talk about as we get into your channels, you do have this capacity to make quick decisions in certain domains for certain things. So we'll talk about that in a moment.